So we have like let me know once you guys are able to see my screen.
Yep, you're able to
Yeah.
see.
Cool. Thank you so much for joining this session today. And then I am Guna, so I'll be your kind of host today. And then we have you about MVP Muddu, so he's joining from India. He'll be co-speaker today. And then we have Vibor with us, like he's the community director, so who deals the community things, um, like overall global. Then so this me like I'm gonna sugarcoat. I work in EY as a consultant. So currently I'm Edinburgh based. So if you're around like in UK, London or Edinburgh or like Glasgow or Belfast, so feel free to connect connect in general like your part things are general as well. So would you like you wanna give quick intro?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Myself, Mudhukrishna. Currently, I'm working as a tech lead at L&T Technology Services. I have an experience of 6 years, and I've been MVP for 2022 last three times. Then, yeah, I'm super excited about this reboot because I think we're entering into a whole new chapter in automation with Agentic AI. So, yeah.
Yeah, so this chapter was like not active for a while, but we restarted again this chapter. So once I become the chapter lead for this one. So it's good to restart this chapter and then so that like it's good to see the people like join from Manchester and then uh, London. So thank you so much for joining. Okay, so let's get into the session. Okay, so today's agenda, what I'm going to talk about, like how UiPath like journey towards the agentic AI, and then we have seen these terms called generative AI, agentic AI, and then AI agents. The key difference between these stuff, and then like what's the core characteristics of agentic AI, and then like how UiPath come up with their framework when it comes to the agentic AI, and then so I have created a simple use case like. From UiPath again, so kind of I'm gonna explain you like in a theoretical way, and then like maybe open for Q&A. Yeah. So okay, so back in 2016 and 2017, where I have started my UiPath journey, so it was kind of three tools, but now companies are talking about AI, but UiPath has been ahead of the curve because so in the era early of 2018, UiPath introduced AI in their one of the product or capability called computer vision. I don't know how many of you are like seen computer vision or used computer vision. So it's kind of enabling the robots to identify the interaction with the on-screen elements more intelligently. And then if we have a virtual machine, so we have a computer vision, it goes and then capture this element. You can run your automations from the locally to virtual machine. So that's where the computer vision like kind of uh, involved in machine learning, and then how we can extract the elements from there. So from there, like we have AI is involved in UiPath. So it was back in 2018. So over the years, like building on that foundation, so UiPath added more AI-powered capabilities such as like task mining and then task capture to helping organizations to discover and then document those repetitive process using the AI. So like we have task capture, which is going to create a document for you, like okay, these many screens, and then involving capturing those screens. So that's where like we have this was back in 2020, and then so early 2021 and 2022, correct me if I'm wrong, Muddu, like 2022, so webpath launched their capability towards the understanding the document and then extracting the information from documents called document understanding, so allowing automation to intelligently extract the data from structured and then unstructured documents like invoices or forms or contracts, so that like we can use or extract the data more intelligently from the documents. So again, we have AI involved in the document understanding as well. Like I don't know, like how many of you use. We have ML capabilities which are used, and then we have form extractor, intelligent form extractor in the backend where we have used like UiPath has used AI in it. So then same like in the similar way, we have communications mining, which uses AI to interpret unstructured text data from emails, chats, and then messages and then understanding the document and then creating it as a structured form and then making sure that is used in our downstream process of automations. So that's where we have communication mining as well. So now, early 2023, by 2023, worlds embeds the word called generative AI. So where LLMs comes in picture, these LLMs are like trained with a vast set of data. So where we are going to like kind of asking a prompt or asking a question. So it's gonna the LLM gonna search that entire data set what we have and then create a content for you. So like from ChatGPT, from OpenAI we have ChatGPT and then Gemini from Google. So UiPath moved quickly towards to these and then integrated uh, GenAI activities with UiPath where you can create empowered smarter and then like more contextual automations using these LLMs. So that's where like we have again AI in the in UiPath. So like in 2025, like we have heard about like UiPath Autopilot. So that's the first agent I would say from UiPath where it's gonna create the workflows or it's gonna create the apps for you. So if you give a natural language like okay, create XML file which will loop files or which will get the files or folders from a particular folder. So it's gonna create XML files for you. So some like these are the few updates and then where UiPath is going towards the agentic automation. Any questions so far? And then feel free to like stop me if you have any questions in between. Cool then. So let's go to the next one. So to extend like how UiPath is towards the agentic AI, this slide shows like how we are evolving from traditional RPA where 100% people create and then maintain the automations and where rule based and then structure based automations towards like where agentic comes in a place where 80% of humans and then 20% of agent. In a flip side, like we have like 20% humans and then 80% agent. We are heading towards the 100% agent. Like we have new products called auto healing agent where UiPath introduced a new capability like if a automation failed in your daily routine task like from orchestrator, so we have an option auto healing agent. So it's gonna figure out what caused that issue and then it's gonna like kind of fix that issue for you and then it's gonna give you proper example or a proper explanation what got failed and then it's kind of a healing on its own. So that's where like your path is towards the agentic flow
Uh,
and then
Sorry, Guru, sorry to interrupt you. I have a quick question actually. It is about
yeah,
auto healing.
auto healing
Auto
is.
healing, which should is for UI automation, right? Do we have a dedicated package which is which will support for auto healing, or any older packages of UI automation also work for it?
I think there are some limitations. I think it should be 2024, I think, or
It should be
Okay.
2023.
mostly you need to have modern activities. That's the
Modern
first thing.
activities. Hmm.
So
Uh-huh.
when you enable modern activities and then when you run when you add a process there, when you pick the auto heal option, it would automatically take
Okay.
that. Then agent will be included, and then it'll auto heal, and then it'll ask you to it'll prompt you autopilot also, and that will make auto fix also in your studio.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
And then
Thanks.
you can see that option in the orchestrator where you can directly go through the studio where it has captured those screens or elements, and then where you can kind of modify those as well. I think Muddu, like you have created a video on this, right?
Yes,
YouTube
yes.
video. Yeah. Okay, so thanks for that, Dushyant. And then so let's see what do we mean by agentic basically. Um, let's break it down like very simply. So on the left, you have seen the robots. So where these are kind of a rule based and then follow the instructions. Like they are like act predictably because we know what logic that we have, what conditions we have kept in that robot, and then these are like like useful like are most perfect for the routine task, and then that needed to be more reliability and then efficiency. On the right, you can see the agents where it's kind of more towards the goal based and then acts independently and then take deterministic decisions. And then these are like best for like ad hoc And then so these are for like flexibility and then decision making on a fly. So like that's the difference between and then robots and then agents. Um, let's see, like what I really want to explain, like I really want to kind of get into this topic, because when I heard generative AI, so where I was using chat GPT and then suddenly AI agent and then called agentic AI comes in picture, I was like, okay, what's the difference between, so between these three stuff? I really want to put this slide because I was confused. I was kind of not very sure like what's the difference between these things. So like generative AI is a technology that uses your LLM models and then give you a content that kind of a generated content for you based on the prompt that you have given, based on the question that you have asked. So it's kind of that content might be a text, or maybe you can say like a music or file, or you can say like in a video it's going to image, so it's going to create a basically content for you. So that's the generative AI for you. So let's see like what AI agent is. One second.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
I'll just add few more points. The traditional RPA and generative AI and agentic automation. In simple words, assume in traditional RPA, we have an input, we have to manually process it, or we know the predefined steps how to process those input, and then we validate and then give that output, and that will be our traditional RPA. And then everything has to be rule based with fixed rules. Now with agentic, assume with the same robot you have sensing capability, thinking capability, acting capability, and learning capability. So when you add all these additional capabilities to existing RPA, that's what agentic automation is. Yeah.
Yep. So like I really have a cool example for this, like in my next slide. So imagine like you have a employee called Pawan who joined a company recently, or a new joinee. So when he joined, so there is a agent which runs on Go. Like it's gonna create an email, and then it's gonna set up his access, like all the system access, and then it's gonna send a welcome email to him. So that AI agent is specifically built for this to like kind of onboarding stuff. But let's imagine onboarding problem statement with the agentic AI. It's gonna set up the accounts and then assign the like it's gonna figure out like what kind of role he is, like whether he's a developer, whether it is like he's like a maybe like a tester, or he's a finance guy, or whether he's a like a audit guy. Like it's gonna figure it out, and then it's gonna add his email ID to their dev tools, and then create or install dev tools in their machines, and then notifies the manager, okay, okay, this guy has joined like from your team. And then so it's gonna create an email or as an induction with the team, like where he's part of. So that's the agentic AI for you guys. So it's kind of I would say agentic AI is something combination, or like it's a pack of your AI agents, including your robots as well in it. And then sometimes if required human interaction, so that's where human go and then pitch in, and then they can add their knowledge into it. So that's the agentic AI and then AI agent difference. Any questions? Cool. I have like noted down few different points, like difference between Gen AI and then AI agents, agentic AI. So like I'm just gonna read through one or two here. So like if you see the purpose, so it's gonna create a content for you, like whether it's gonna be a text, images, or code. So when it comes to AI agents, like it's kind of a task based automations. Like as I take an example of onboarding task. So that's one agent, AI agent for like creating onboarding things for an employee. So let's take agentic AI. So you have an onboarding. It's a fully autonomous AI kind of a system which will adapt. Okay, new join employee join newly, and then it's gonna figure out and then onboarding stuff, and then it's gonna adapt, and then it's gonna plan, and then it's gonna execute the task dynamically for him. So that one the purpose. Then adaptability. So like see, no response, no like adaptability. There is no adaptability in the generative AI, and then so limited to the predefined rules in this, but it can agentic AI can adapt to the new situations and then self correct, and then it can improve over the time as well. So these are the few differences. Maybe we can put this in the chapter. Maybe we can get this one. And I wanted to talk about the core, like agentic AI core characteristics, where like I have kind of differentiated like 5 core characteristics. One is autonomy, so it's kind of acts independently without constant human input. And then so we have goal oriented behavior that focuses on the achieving the outcomes, not just following the steps. The typical RPA, we have like rule based, and then we set the goals, and then it's going to follow only that stuff, like whatever the rules that we had given. But when it comes to the agents, uh, it's going to kind of focus on the achieving the goals. So we have the adaptability, so which is like adjust to the new situations, and then learns over the time. So if a new situation comes, it's going to figure out, and then it's going to store into that when we have that kind of a continuous learning. So it's kind of the adaptability that we have in the agentic AI. And then so we have decision making and then reasoning here. So make smart and then context awareness decisions in this. And then we have perception, and then interactions here. So understands the environment, and then it can interact the effectively. So let's take it can interact with the other situations, and like we can interact with the robots, we can interact with the other applications as well here. These are like more high level core characteristics of AI. Muddu, like if you have anything to cover here, any did I missed anything?
I think we pretty much covered everything. And I would like to just add just few more steps what Gunnar mentioned. As he already mentioned, the capability of having a brain for its own. So that's one difference that you see when you have agentic automation. Let's say if you are a generative AI expert, and then if you're using LLMs, you can create agents which will be very complicated and time consuming, right? So that's when we have UiPath's agentic builder. So UiPath have something called agent builder. Guna will speak in future
Yep.
in next slides. So yeah, continue Guna.
Yep, thank you. So let's see, like how the agentic framework as built by UiPath. So it's kind of I would say like a differentiator between the process orchestration and the trust layer. So we have in the front end, we have agents. So where we have the agentic builder, so which will help us to create the agents which Muthu was talking about. So which consisting of like your user prompt and then system prompts. So user prompts is something that how we have to ask the questions, and then system prompt is something. So this is how you have to behave, like we are giving a instruction to the agent. Okay, so you are an HR agent, you have to answer the questions which are related to HR things. So that's the system prompt that we have given. And then so we have context grounding. So let's take an example of, okay, in any restaurant, um or any organization, if you have like more kind of a context when a new employee joins, when he's solving the problems, if you have the more context towards the problem, so he can get that knowledge base or KT or context grounding, and then based on that he can work on that. So that problem statement. And then so we have the other section called tools, where it's gonna connect to the either agents, RPA bots, or it's gonna connect with any generative AI activities, or any Google or any web search we have here tools. And then we have exceptions or escalations, where if any of the question is not solved by the agents, so that's where we have the escalations, where we can reach out to the human asking for the help here. And then we have evaluate. So whatever the output that we got, like we have to, if we want to evaluate that, so we have the section over there here as well. This is how the agentic framework has built in UiPath. Yep. Any questions? Cool. Okay, so I really want to let me walk you through one of the real world story how vendor invoice are processed and then where the pain points are like. Um, okay, I'm just taking an example of my colleague Sarah. So like meet Sarah, she's works in one of the finance team, and then so it's kind of like whenever a new invoice comes, like we have an automation place for her, so that robot steps in and then it's gonna use AI powered invoice model, like a document understanding or something. It's gonna read the document and then match against with the PO, and then this bot is quick and then accurate, and then it's gonna work as we have designed. Okay, so but then so there is a mismatch when comparing the PO with invoice. So there is a mismatch. Let's take we have PO says like 2,000 pounds, and then in the invoice says like 2,200 pounds. So there is a 200 pounds mismatch. Now Sarah gets involved like in the third section. So Sarah gets involved and then she's gonna check why there is a difference between. So she's gonna like did someone approved at the last stage, or she's gonna check like was there any extra charge not reflected in the PO. She's gonna check all those kind of investigation that she's gonna do why this dispute has happened, and then now she's gonna reach out to the people or vendor saying that, whoa, okay, why we have this dispute in the invoices and PO. And then she's gonna, once she sent out the emails to the business, it may take hours, or like it may go take like 1 or 2 days to get the response, and then like to get the response, and then we can move to the next phase, like where robot comes in and it goes to the ERP and then input those or update those records. So this is the pain point, like, where human needs to involve at the dispute investigation and then dispute resolution. So like let's see how agentic workflow is going to solve this problem. Okay, so if you see here, like let's say Sarah invoice created, and then now robots comes in place, and then see it's gonna match two-way matching with the vendor and then PO invoice and PO, and then so there is a dispute investigation. Now we have policy documents allowed, which we have stored in the context grounding. So the agent is going to match with those policy documents, and then so let's see the any allowed exceptions or replacement which we have already configured in our agents without having any human interactions when it is doing. But there are few times if human required, that's where the Sarah comes in, and then she's going to see like what kind of dispute we have. And then once dispute is done, so we have another agent called dispute resolution, where it's going to communicate to the vendor or the person like who has sent that PO, and then so to communicate with them and understand that why we have this dispute. And then once that gets solved, then it's passed to the robot. So that's where it's the robot comes into the picture and then updates those in details into the ERP. Then that's how the agentic workflow behaves without having any human interaction uh, for the invoice processing. Any questions?
Guna, I have a question.
Yep.
The agentic AI agents, everything is available in Enterprise Edition. Is there any public preview availability? If not, any tentative time that we're gonna get access from public preview
I
for
think
community
we
users?
have this for the private preview now. Correct me if I'm wrong, Muthu or Vibhor.
Yes.
So maybe in going forward, like maybe in the April, so agentic builder will be available for the public preview. But we have Mastro, like which is agentic orchestration, which is already available for the public preview.
All right.
Usually the GA, I think you can see agentic automation in near future, maybe May or June. But for now, yeah,
Yeah.
as Guna mentioned, it's in
Yeah,
public.
we are
It's
almost close. Thanks.
private.
Thanks
Yeah.
for that.
public private preview it is now. Yeah,
Okay.
so that's all I have
I,
today.
I,
So these are all the few. Yeah, go ahead, Muthu. Yeah,
I'll quickly share how it looks. Maybe you'll not be able to see agentic
yeah,
builder.
that would be good.
Yes. I'll just share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. Open the orchestrator. This is my staging tenant. Yeah, you may not see agents as of now, but in future you will see. So this is what this is where you build agents in orchestrator. So initially, this is how it looks. We'll have. So let me minimize this.
Can you create any new agent?
Yeah,
Do
I'll
you
do.
have any agents that we have created?
Yes. I'll do that. So initially, this is how it looks. So you can import an existing agent, or you can create a new agent. Let's create a new agent. So the starting point, as we already discussed, agentic automation or agent starts with an LLM. So it needs an LLM. So by default, it will be selected. GPT-4 will be selected. You can choose as per your requirement. Now let's build a stock analyzing agent. Let's say I have a stock name, and then I want my agent to analyze the current, how the current market of that stock is. Is it good or is it bad? So something like that. So I'll just name my agent stock analyzer agent. Quickly describe my agent. Get detailed analysis of given stock. Say like this. Then for system prompt, the difference between system prompt and user prompt, I think as Guna already mentioned, system prompt is something which you describe agent to do. Let's say this will be the role or description that agent has to do. So
Like
my
that's how you have to behave, that we are going to give these instructions. So
is
this is how you have to behave. So that's
so
the system prompt.
let's say role. So I'm just using some placeholders to define prompt. If you are a prompt engineer, you might already know this. So I'm just telling you are a stock analyzer. Get the stock from input. So I'll be giving an input. So get the stock and then give me a good analysis on the stock provided. This will be its role, and then description is what you need to do. You need to be a proficient prompt engineer. So all you need to do
Role and
is,
like it should be like a role and goal or something.
yeah,
Yeah, Madhu, is there a character limit in giving system prompts or user prompts, or it's an open?
it's an open as of now.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can give
Uh,
us, but try to describe as detail as possible and give the output for output for buy or not. Let's see. Actually, it should not. An LLM basically will not say to buy or not stock, but let's see. Can buy or not. And quick output format. How I need the output format should be, or I can just ignore output format. It can just reply what I mean, can just get from web and then reply to me. So that's what a system prompt is. User prompt is something that you give to the agent. So let's say I'll be giving, like, I need stock analysis for Apple, right? So that will be the user prompt. So user prompt for me, it will be an input argument. So if you want to define an input argument, you just go to arguments, create a root property, and then name it. So name it stock name and confirm. You see, once I create a root property, it will prompt like this, and then that stock name has to be passed as a user prompt. So as of now, until that it's clear, I guess. So we gave a name, we gave a prompt, system and user prompt, and then we passed the stock name as an argument. So next, the important part, tools. So few sections, general names and descriptions, and then prompt will be system and user prompt. Tools is where you involve what tool has to be included in your agent. If you click on
like
tool,
basically, what's the input source or data source that you are going to use in this agent?
yes. So as of now, these are the tools that we have. If you have Coupa, Box, or Jira, Teams, you can directly involve them. As of now, this is still in preview. We can expect a lot in the future. But if you want to do a web search, then you have UiPath GenAI activities. So for now, I think for me, I need to do a web search using an LLM to get the latest information, right? So if I have an analysis already and then give LLM to say if it is good or bad, it can do the sentiment analysis on that given text, and then it will say it's a good or bad. But I need real time data, right? So for that, I might have to do the Google. So that tool will be available in UiPath GenAI activities. that's activities that we have, and then process. If you have an RPA process to involve, let's say I'm building an SAP agent. So for a particular um, description, I need to execute a particular transaction code. So that transaction code execution, go to T code, do something, download the report. That part can be an RPA workflow, right? So that process can be added here. All UiPath workflows can be added here, and then that can be added as a tool to your agent. That's one more thing, and then agent. So as of now, or it will be even better in future. But for now, multi-agent is also supported in Agent Builder. So you can build an agent, publish it, and then use that agent in one more agent. So it's like
So
multi-agent.
let's take an example that we're talking about the onboarding process. So we have like RPA process where we'll send out an email, and then we have agent which is going to create a generic role, or and then based on the role, it's gonna add him to the DLLs, or add him create a email for him or welcome email. So that can be your agent. So this is a place where you can like kind of integrate your RPA, and then output of one of the agent can be input to the another agent. So this is the place that you can do that.
Exactly. So okay. So we come back to our use case. So GenAI activities, and under that we need to do web search.
Web search.
So select it, and then everything is
That's all.
fine. And that's it. We added our web tool. So in case if you have your own context, let's say it has to do the grounding of your context. Let's say you have in your own data, and then within that it has to search and then decide the next step. You can add your context file to storage bucket, and then you can add that context here. You can see I've already added some. I have few. This CCI index is your actual context. So for example, if you have a supply data, you can add that, and then that will be your context for your agent. So for now we don't need any context. This is a simple Google search, and
So
then
it's like sorry Muthu. So context rounding, when we're talking, so we have to upload our documents or whatever we have in the data storage buckets, that we have to reference in the context grounding. From context grounding, we have to reference in the agentic builder. Is that right? So
yes,
that's how the
yes,
link. Yep.
yes. And for context grounding, there will be always be a question where you may think like your context might be given back to LLM for training, but to maintain that or to control that, so we have something called AI trust layer, and then AI policies that are already available in automation governance, automation ops. So you will specifically have a trust layer in between LLM and then your context. So everything that you are doing here will not be given as a training data to LLM. It will be it will stay here itself within your path itself. That's where AI trust layer comes into picture, which gonna explain before. And then apart from this, so context is clear. Next, escalation and agent memory. Escalations are nothing but once, let's say you've created you created your agent, but agent could not solve your issue or it could not run with your input. So what needs to be happening in the next? So in that place, you can add an escalation. It can be an action item. If you already know Action Center, can be an action item that will throw an action item to you, and then you can decide what needs to be done next. That's what escalation means. So I think, yeah, we built our first agent. Let's give Apple shit on run.
So I have a question. So is there any limitations with the tokens here?
For input or
No, like for the output that LLM is going to
yeah,
give, like it's gonna.
yeah, yeah. So we have 4,000 here as an output limit.
Yeah.
Depends on your LLM. Yeah.
Are those tokens number of runs? It will
Number
No,
of
consume
words.
number of
number of
words.
words. Okay.
Yeah, so LLM is always converts your tokens into the words. Then that's how it like words can be your tokens.
How much time usually it's gonna take for a run?
It has to be very quick. It's
Mm.
in preview. Backend, your team might be working on it. Just refresh it.
Oh, yeah.
One more thing I forgot. I need to give this talk name. Let's run now. Yep. No, it took. So it will involve the tools that you made. So let's say I have web search. So it involved web search. So this is the information I got. So it directly did a web search. So let's adjust a little bit in our the web search tool. Let's remove stock level.
Okay, so is this the other way that we can pass the argument here instead of passing it?
I missed forgot. What's this more stock level? So now Google search for Apple. And then here you can see a quick analysis about Apple. And then I think it will not, LLM will not give the buy or not because it's the stock related
So
suggestion.
it
So
won't suggest that.
yeah,
Okay.
so it just gave you potential investors should also consider market conditions, competitions in the recent Apple stock performance. Overall, Apple is generally considered a strong investment with its consistent innovation and financial. Yeah, so it's basically telling if it these are the analysis that I can do based on the latest data. Based on this analysis, if you want to buy, you can buy. So something like that. So this is a simple stock analyzer agent. Like that, it can be any of the existing. It can replace any of the existing RPA or not directly replace. Where you need human intervention or you need a thinking capability, there you can replace a simple agent there. And more interesting point, I think this will be a common question for everyone. What about the licensing part? So um, UiPath is telling that they'll come up with a new kind of unit, agent unit. So when you start running or when you start using agent, each time when it runs, an agent unit will be consumed. And then when you have UiPath app or Action Center involved here, so with the respective unit will be consumed. So that's how the UiPath is planning to have the licensing. So yeah, apart from these, I think the backend, what is happening here, so that you can see in evolutions, you can this can be your test set for your agent. And then in results, you can see the output of that evolution set. And then, sorry, traces is where you see the trace of your agent. So you can see when I gave the stock name and then did the run button, it called the LLM. You can see the settings, what happened. Then I had involved a tool there. So so what happened with that tool? It's a web search tool. Execution, it did a web search, and then execution governance, and then LLM call. So it's a quick trace, and then you can see in health score. Once you, I mean, for now it's a quick agent. That's why score is NA. But when you have your proper prompt, and then when you have built your proper system, and then user prompt, and then handled escalations, had proper arguments, it'll be more. So based on input schema, the evolution tools and prompt, this will become more. So about this, and then once you're done with this, you can publish it and then you can consume it. So This is how you build an agent. Once you publish, next question will be, how do you consume your agent? So as of now, we have three ways. One, you can deploy this agent into your orchestrator and then consume that in your UiPath Studio. And then second, if you're already aware of UiPath Autopilot, so whatever you deploy the agent, that autopilot, you can combine that agent to your autopilot, and then from here you can use your agent. I mean, involve or invoke your agent like a chatbot. So you would say like analyze this stock for me. It will identify there is an agent for stock analyzing. It will directly involve and then it will run. That's one way, and then that's the second way, and then third way is to install agent in your Path Studio Web. So in Studio Web, you can install agent and then invoke it. So these are the three ways. So yeah, that's pretty much how you use or create or deploy the agent. If you have any questions, you can ask now.
Cool then.
Any questions from anyone?
No questions. Can you share this recording once the session is done?
Can you repeat this? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, can you repeat?
Yeah, what I was asking that can you share this recording once the
Yes.
session is
Yes.
done?
This recording will be uploaded in Scotland's chapter. I think Vibhor will share the link. Yeah. Okay. I think if there are no questions, I think we can end. Thank you for joining and have a nice rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.